Hi everyone, so we're having a wee look with this video at a question that is unique to the higher English close reading course. So if you're National 5, watch it if you like, if you're planning to do higher next year, but it doesn't apply in that paper. But in the higher paper, there is a specific question at the end that gets you to compare text 1, which is the one that all the other questions are about, and text 2, which really is just there to give a second text for comparison purposes. Basically it goes in at the end and it's a 5 mark question, and in some ways, to be honest, it's a bit of a giveaway of marks. If you get through the closed reading paper, get all the way to the end and have the time to do that last question, then getting 4 or 5 marks out of 5 is well within reach for pretty much anybody who can get there, because it's a relatively basic question. All it's asking you to do is read two texts, and then it will say either give us 3 ways in which they agree or 3 ways in which they disagree. And it's not as if those agreements or disagreements are going to be hard to find or anything. It's just about having the time to get through it all. And to get through it all, I'd recommend using a specific structure, just to kind of minimise the amount of sort of brain power involved in how you get it down on the page. If that's dealt with already by like a template, then you can focus on actually getting the answer out. In terms of the marks, if you just get 3 areas in which they agree or disagree, depending on what you've been asked, then you'll get 3 marks. If you also add in a wee bit of evidence from some of the passages, then you pick up a fourth. If you do all of that and with a good amount of evidence and maybe a wee comment to explain the connection each time, then you can pick up the 5th mark as well. So very, very accessible, very doable. In some ways, I think this has been put in there as like a sort of bonus at the end. But if you're good enough to get towards the end because you've got through the rest of the paper in the time available, then you should be good enough to pick up most of the marks in this question as well. Um, and this is the sort of template that I would use. So they both agree, disagree on X. So there were 2 articles that were about reforming the voting system, and they both agreed the current voting system is terrible. So you could say they both agreed that the current voting system gives too much power to large political parties, which is a kind of common criticism of it. Then you could lift a quote or put in a clear reference from text 1, same from text 2, with a little bit of explanation as well, to just make it absolutely crystal clear to the person marking this that you fully understand the point that you're making. And that's it. You do that 3 times, you make it as clear as possible, and you should pick up most of the marks in that question. Very good chance of getting full marks. The issue with it is that people very, very often don't manage to get it all done because it's the last question and they then have to read a whole second text as well. So if you put the work in for everything else, if you put the work in so that you can get through the analysis of word choice and you can do that in your own word stuff, etc., etc., you should find you're able to do that stuff more quickly as we go through the year, and then that means that it'll open up more and more space for you to get more and more marks from this 5 mark question at the end, where it is relatively easy to pick up the marks, certainly in relation to, say, an imagery question or something like that. Okay, so again, a tricky one to show you in the videos. You really need to read the 2 references and the 2 texts, and compare them. But have a look at the past papers for the last few years for the higher. They've all got these comparison questions, and you can do a bit of practice that way. And as usual, any questions or any issues, just let me know.